Yo, what's good? I'm back. Now, today, I'm actually doing a double feature. I just got back from seeing M3GAN 2.0, and at 6:30, I will be seeing F1. Now, I didn't really know how I was going to do this, if I was going to post this review for M3GAN and then F1 tomorrow, or both today, or both tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see, because I don't know. We'll just see. But I just got back from seeing M3GAN 2.0, and I'm here to talk about it. Now, based on the reviews that I saw, some people were not really too much of a fan of this movie, and to that I say, you're wrong. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but if you don't like this movie, then I don't know, man. I don't really know what to tell you, because I loved it. You know, I thought it was better than the first one. And yes, does it, stray away from horror and move more into like an action, sci-fi, thriller? Maybe. Well, it definitely does. And it definitely leads into like the comedy and the campiness that the first one had, just dialed up to 11. Yes, it does have that. But I think it was really good. I thought it was really good. I had a blast. The few people that were in my theater, there were moments where they were bursting out laughing. I just really had a fun time with this movie, and I think it was great, bro. I think this was a great sequel. If there could definitely for sure be a M3GAN 3 if they wanted to, go that route. Or, if this is, if this is it for M3GAN, then I could also see this being a good concluding chapter. She gets her redemption. She's the good guy this time around, and everything about this movie is just bigger, greater, grander than the first one. So in that, honestly, I think it succeeds. So let's get into it. We have this new android, Amelia. She's killing people, yada yada yada. They need M3GAN's help. So Gemma and Katie, they and Tess and Cole, they build M3GAN, rebuild her. Then M3GAN goes off, fights Amelia, sacrifices herself in the process. There's a lot of like Gemma. I feel like I like Gemma a lot more in this movie. I feel like she has much more screen presence. And Katie was also great. She definitely, both of their performances were definitely, they stepped it up this time around. And M3GAN was better than I remembered. She's feisty. She's, sarcastic as hell. She has those, quick little whips and one-liners. She's great. Jenna Davis, the voice actress of M3GAN, phenomenal job, to be honest with you. And I can see like M3GAN becoming one of the greats, and honestly, like I can, for people that were coming into this hoping for like another horror movie, like a Child's Play 2, I get why you might be a little disappointed, but honestly, I feel like this was the right path to take, a Terminator 2 type of, route. I thought that the action, was great. The suspense was great. The comedy was there. Not everything is gonna hit for some people, but for most of the jokes, they do land. This is quite the long movie. I think it's like about 2 hours flat, so it's a decent. I think the first movie was like an hour 40 some, so this is definitely longer, but I don't think it overstays its welcome. I think it's like maybe a little bit towards like back end of the movie, like it drags on just a little bit. But besides that, like the whole movie, it kept me engaged. I was having fun. I was having a blast, watching this journey and watching M3GAN, be the good guy, and she does eventually become the good guy, even though it takes a little while. And she does sacrifice herself and defeats Amelia, who's trying to like unleash this like some type of cyber thing that's like gonna destroy the world or some shit like that. M3GAN sacrifices herself, and it was really touching. I obviously she doesn't die. She comes back in Gemma's computer, it's a really nice, little ending close off. So honestly, if this is it for M3GAN, I'm fine with that. But if they do decide to make a third, I'm also down with that for sure. I think this, and I heard the filmmakers saying that there could potentially be like 5 M3GAN movies if they wanted to keep going. So honestly, I'm so down, bro. Fucking M3GAN 5, M3GAN in space, M3GAN versus Abigail, from 2024, which I did make a voice memo about that. I will be posting that soon. Also, people were talking about M3GAN versus Chucky as well, throwing that out there, so there's that. In terms of like the character development, I feel like Gemma, she feels very guilty about what happened, and she's just trying to do the right thing. So she's very against M3GAN. It's like her and M3GAN are butting heads the entire film, but they eventually come together. Same with Katie. Her and Katie don't really butt heads as much as they did in the first movie, but they definitely it's been 2 years since the first movie, so things have changed. And yeah, it was interesting seeing their relationship develop throughout the movie. And as for Cole and Tess, Cole is the same Cole from the first movie. He's great. He's funny. He has a lot much more screen time this time around, which I enjoyed. Tess is fine. She's not bad. She takes a little bit of a backseat in this one. Cole definitely has much more screen time than she does, but I'm not opposed to that because Cole is, the better character. He's much more enjoyable to watch. And this little team that they have, Gemma, Cole, Katie, and M3GAN is nice. So it turns out that this guy named Christian, he's behind all of this. He's behind Amelia, and he essentially wants to show people why AI is dangerous and why they need to eradicate it, or control it, some shit like that. I don't know. And he's fucking delusional. As a villain, he's pretty bland. I don't really, but yeah, he was just he wasn't really doing it for me. There was this other guy with a beard. He was pretty entertaining. He was in a wheelchair, but then he has this like neuro link in his head, which helps him stand and shit. He was pretty entertaining. He dies pretty early on by Amelia. And they also implant that chip into Gemma, and it's a little bit of an upgrade situation from that movie where M3GAN takes control of Gemma's body to, defeat some niggas. And as for Amelia herself, she was great. She was very intimidating. At first, she was being controlled, but then, she gets her own consciousness and is just like trying to murk niggas. She essentially wants to be with AI, with her people, and at first she tries to reason with M3GAN, and M3GAN tries to reason with her, but then they can't do that because M3GAN's on the good side this time around. And as for M3GAN, she does feel a little bit of remorse for what happened, and she definitely is trying to do the right thing. At first, she is her usual self, but as the movie progresses, she gets more and more, normal, I guess, until she's like straight up, just the good guy, which was nice. Yeah, she lived long enough to see herself become the hero, so that's great. And the relationship between her and Katie is just like it was in the first movie. It was great. They have a strong bond, and honestly, man, I had a good time with this. Like, I feel like this is the type of movie, like, just go with a few of your friends. It's PG-13, so it's like, in terms of like the violence and the gore and the blood, there's not that much, but they definitely do try to push the bounds a little bit of that PG-13 rating, which I appreciate. And overall, I had a blast with this movie. I think it's a hit. Like, I can understand why people might not like it because it's very campy, it's very goofy. It definitely is very over the top. It kind of forgets about its horror roots and goes more action, sci-fi. I get that, but you can't deny that this movie was like at least a fun time. You can't say this movie wasn't like somewhat entertaining. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. That's just me personally. Me personally, I really like this film. You know, and I think it was a hit. I think it was a hit. So yeah, I mean, there's not that much to talk about other than the fact that I really liked it, and I'm probably gonna see it again. Now I got to get ready to see F1, which is, I just checked the runtime for that movie. F1 is 2 hours and 35 minutes long. So we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like F1 as much as M3GAN. This is another racing movie, which we already had that like maybe like a year or two ago with Gran Turismo, which I also saw. But I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I'll like it. Who knows? But yeah, that's it. This has been my review for M3GAN 2.0. I may or may not post this today or tomorrow. We'll see. If I don't post it today, definitely tomorrow with F1. Because Squid Game Season 3 also comes out tomorrow, and I got to make a review for that as well. So it's a lot. There's going to be like a bunch of videos that I'm going to be pumping out, you know. And also my M3GAN versus Abigail idea that I made. I also am going to be posting that voice memo. So, yeah, stay tuned for all that. But, yeah, man, that's it. This has been my review for M3GAN 2.0. Let me know what you guys think of the movie in the comments. It's I had a good time, man. I had fun. So, word. But, yeah, I'm the Hero Light Legend, Tyree Figueroa, signing out. Peace.